hayo. Kama kweli wanataka kwamba Wakenya watoe ushuru kwa sababu ndio njia halisi ya kujenga hii taifa, kwanza wangehakikisha kwamba hata kile wanakikusanya jeki na ulinzi wa kutosha hakitaingia katika mifuko ya watu, ama ni kutoa ushuru wakati hatuna mlinzi. Wakora ni wale wale, corruption ni ile ile ambayo haizungumzii katika rejimu hii ya Ruto. Kaka mzalendo, lazima tuwe na ukweli hapa, tuwahamasishe watu, tuwahamasishe ndugu zetu. Tukipata nafasi kama hizi tuzungumze vitu ambavyo vinajenga hii nchi. Hatuwezi kuwa tunatoza ushuru wakati ukoro umejaa katika serikali, wakiongozwa na hawa kina Gachagua wanaorodeshewa mamilioni. Tena huku Mkenya akipata tabu jinsi ya kuishi, anakula mlo mmoja kwa siku, tena bado unamkandamiza umtoe ushuru. Kaka mzalendo, tuwe mkweli hapa, tulitetee hili taifa, wacha kuganda kwa watu ambao wameshindwa na kuongoza. Asante.
Sawa, unajua nikupatia nafasi kidogo sasa, ukapoa sasa umechukua hoja yote na sasa Chaka, hii shida ya Ruto kusema watu walipe ushuru, na nimeona mara mingi marais wa hapa Kenya wakisema leo tunaenda kuzindua barabara hii, leo tunaenda kuzindua SGR. Kuna tofauti gani? Na hizo kuna madepartment yale yanahusika na hizo makazi. So kitu ile nakwambia president ana articulate to policy ile wamediscuss na serikali yake. KRA ni part of serikali ya Uhuru Kenyatta. Unanielewa? Kama uelewi hiyo, that KRA ni part of serikali ya Uhuru Kenyatta, ya William Ruto, hiyo lazima uelewe vizuri sana. That hiyo whatever anasema pale si mambo ya kubweka, ni mambo wamediscuss, na ni ile tu wanaambia wananchi that sasa tunaenda kwa mabwenyenye. Wale jamaa wamekuwa wakikwepa ushuru, wacha waanze kulipa ushuru. And hii nchi ya Kenya ni nchi ambayo tunategemea ushuru. So kama kuna wadosi wengine walipi ushuru, mimi na kuhakikishia Ruto atahakikisha amelipa ushuru. Na ukae kujua pia yeye ndio rais wa kwanza kusema wadosi walipe ushuru. Wale wengine
mbona yeye mwenyewe mzalendo hajatuonyesha? Mbona yeye mwenyewe hajaonyesha kwa mfano? Wala Gachagua hajatuambia sisi tumelipa hii. Mbona Ruto mwenyewe hajatuonyesha kwa vitendo? Aanze yeye kwanza.
Ngoja Chaka. Mzalendo msimamo sasa, we are not having a debate I'd rather tuwe na mtu mmoja anaongea, tunamaliza, tunasonga kwa mwingine.
Samahani ndugu.
Ni sawa ndugu, ni sawa. So mzalendo, nimekupa nafasi ya kuongea, na sasa wacha nipatie mwingine pia nafasi ya kuongea. Naona kuna mkono umeinuliwa hapo, na Mary alikuwa anataka kuongea, alafu tunaendelea namna hiyo, lakini tafadhali to keep our mics mute, ndio at least mmoja akimaliza tunasonga kwa mwingine. Mary, karibu.
Thank you Makiadi. Nina swali moja kwa mzalendo. Una huyo president wako ambaye unamsifu sana, ambaye unaona kama anafanya kazi ipasavyo. Lakini nina swali moja. Nafikiri serikali inakuaga na mpangilio wa kuwa ati tuko na CS huyu anasimamia hii, CS huyu anasimamia hii, na huyo anatarajiwa kutoa hotuba yake kwa department yake vile inaendelea. So why is it that anything that is going on in a certain department, huyo president wako ndio ako na mdomo ya kusema? Kwani hawa wengine wamenyamazishwa, wameambiwa wasiongee? Kwa nini kusiwe na mtu ambaye anasimama pande huo wa KRA, ambaye anaweza simama ndio apeane hata mpangilio na aongee na heshima akipeana hiyo hotuba? Because now when we see the president who is the head of the country, ambaye anaenda anasimama kwa watu hadharani, anatoa hiyo hotuba kama Uhuru ni kuiba wameiba, ama mama yake ni kuiba ameiba. Hiyo sio heshima. Hata yeye mwenyewe hajiheshimu. Yani karakta yake si president wa Kenya. Ameharibu kabisa. Amejitoa max yote. Because I don't see the reason why a sitting president huyu anajifanya ambaye aliiba hiyo uchaguzi. Ni yeye head of ya nchi ya Kenya. Anaenda anasimama anaanza kutoa hotuba ya kuchafua jina ya mama kama huyo. Honestly speaking, hakuna heshima hata kidogo. Hata yeye hajiheshimu. Kuna department, kuna CS ambaye anatakiwa kusimama aende atoe hiyo, ama KRA watoe hiyo tangazo lao hata kama watatangaza kwa runinga. Rather than seeing somebody who is calling himself a president standing on top of a car announcing such. Siwezi anatangaza ati wakipatikana they are most wanted. What is all this? How many people do we know in UDA ambao hawajalipa huo ushuru na bado wanaendelea na maisha yao na hawezi kuwatangaza? Hata yeye mwenyewe. Certificate gani yeye ametuonyesha yeye amelipa zake? Why does he have that audacity of standing on top of a car? In fact, it is very, very agitating. Very, very bad for his character. For his own. Hata anaharibu dignity yake kama ako nayo. Mzalendo, what you are standing here and trying to tell us, there is nothing you are convincing Kenyans. Kenyans know everything, and they know this government does not deserve to be ruling our country. Kenyans know that. And they are very sure that this was not legitimate government that we have. It is not. Kwa hivyo utijaribu kutueleza maneno mingi hapa. In fact, I don't like arguing with somebody who is really telling lies in front of all these people who are listening. I don't like arguing because even it is said, don't argue with a fool. People might not know the difference. But I'm not calling you a fool, Mzalendo, but that is a saying.
You just called me a fool.
Don't misunderstand me and don't misquote me. I said, and I'm not calling you a fool, but I'm saying that's a saying, and it is written exactly what I'm saying. So we are not going to argue with something that really people don't see the sense. We are ridiculing ourselves, wasting time for better things. Kwa sababu huyo rais wako, kama ana heshima, angekuwa kwa ofisi akifanya kazi yake. Awe anachora akiandika watoto ni wangapi wanaenda shule, ni wangapi wamepata school fees. Ama kama sio hivyo, awe anapata information from this CSS. Kwani hii CSS ni chokora? Kwani ni watu wa mapipa? Hawaelewi na jinsi ya kufanya hizo ofisi zao. This government does not deserve even to be there. In fact, we are like dreaming. It's like we are sleeping. And we are out of our way when we listen to them and what they are doing. They are ridiculing our country. Whoever is outside is just hearing things that he cannot even understand. People from outside, international, wanaangalia mtu kama huyu ati ni president wa dunia, wa nchi yake. Mtu ambaye hajiheshimu, mtu ambaye anaropoka tu, anasema maneno ambayo hata si ya heshima. Kweli kabisa. I believe other countries cannot do that. Ona kama Martin Luther King, he is still honored. Na hakuna mtu anaweza enda against what has been written. But in our country ni kama manyani. Nyani ambazo ziko mbugani. Zinakimbizana huko. I can't imagine, sincerely speaking, when I saw that president of yours on top of a car lamenting those words, I was shocked. I was ashamed on myself. We are not talking about simple things. We are talking about a country which has got millions of people. And somebody is not serious. Na anasimama hapo. Vile amejenga. Vile ako msafi na gari kubwa. And people are dying. People are dying in their homes. They don't have food to eat. Na usiseme ati koni yeye ndio ndiye ataleta mvua. We don't care whether he bring the rain. All those dams that he has been talking about, they could have been groundbreaking now. we see the sites have started. Nini hii anatuambia? Huo ushuru wa Uhuru utakuja kujenga hizo dams? How many people have ran away with that ushuru? Hawajalipa. Na bado ni mtu huyo tu mmoja anafuatilia. You people, you are just losing your way and coming here to agitate us. Leave us alone. Let's argue the better way our country can go. They can go and have their own channel. We don't want this. Because we are talking with facts. And we are talking what is really the best thing for our country. And the president of Majambazi is just playing games. Mzalendo is gone because he knows he was just coming here. Why do they want us to tell them what to do? What don't they know? Why do we have to tell them what to do? They took the government. They took the government, so you know how to do it. What was your manifesto? Was it written by somebody from anywhere? Or it is you guys? It's so ridiculous and so saddening, and even you feel like, yani hatuelewi ni watu aina gani hawa na walitoka wapi? They don't look like Kenyans. They look like people who are clones. Their minds are not set. They don't know what they are doing. It's so agitating. Kenyans, let's wake up. This country is going very bad, and it is going down with the people who are playing games. We don't want games. People are serious and people are hurting. Thank you, Makiadi.
Haya, sawa sawa. Naona kuna mzee Lala amekuja hapa. Ndakupatia nafasi kidogo kwanza, wacha nikupatie introduction hapa nilikuwa nimeweka for a long time, alafu then we can go to your presentation.
My kicker tonight is a pertinent reminder to an equally pertinent reminder made right here on the 15th of September last year, just 2 days after the inauguration of President William Ruto and his deputy, Rigathi Gachagua. And that reminder is high-level corruption in Kenya is real. It's not fiction. It is not politics. It is not a lie. It is indeed a fact. Whether denied or ignored, high-level corruption in Kenya is indeed the proverbial elephant in the room. This reminder is particularly critical in a week the government has gone full throttle to remind every Kenyan about the value of paying taxes. In my view, this talk for taxation must of necessity be accompanied by an equally strong talk against official corruption. Payment of taxes must go hand in hand with anti-corruption measures because the latter, provenly, have ways of rendering the former completely meaningless. Corruption depletes public resources. Corruption involves blatant theft of taxes. Corruption makes taxation futile and pointless. And the reminder has to constantly name and face the elephant in the room. That is, corruption involving government officials or officers, or indeed the powerful and well-connected individuals. Nearly all cases of corruption, whether we're talking of Goldenberg or Anglo leasing, Afia House or NYS scandals, had traces to physical addresses of government offices and names of a little more than just ordinary Kenyans. The reality of the official corruption cannot be denied, and indeed, as recently as earlier today, the European Union, one of Kenya's key development partners, sent its own reminder about Kenya's elephant in the room. Let's listen in.
We think that corruption to fight corruption is in the best interest of Kenya, because this is maybe the single most deterrent to investment. And also, Kenya is on the watch list for money laundering. If Kenya is not making efforts, it will be blacklisted. And that has a lot of very negative consequences. The most important one is that investors are shying away.
Investors shying away, Kenya getting blacklisted, and public resources in form of taxes going to waste. Just some of the consequences of not fighting official corruption. We've heard a lot about paying taxes. Now, let us see the taxes being put into some very good use. And while at it, some genuine energy in the fight against corruption.
Yeah, I think that's a good introduction to the next topic that we'll be talking for a few weeks, maybe, the issue of taxes, accompanied with the responsible use of resources that Kenyans are paying the government to, divert our attention away from this issue of one family just having, the president of the Republic of Kenya speaking about one issue every day to try and remind us that the failures of our country emanate from this family, which is just, like I always say here, a diversion from the real failures of William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagwa's government. Let me welcome Lala here, and then we can move on from there. Karibu. Your audio, can you try to readjust your audio? Maybe in Bluetooth? No, we can't hear you again. No.
Hello.
Yeah, there you go.
Can
Sawa.
you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I just got in, and hi to everyone. Hi Makiadi, hi Mary, hi Duke, and all of you. I've been monitoring things from home, of course, not all the time, so I don't get a fuller picture, but what I saw, the meeting itself, and the people and the energy that was in the meeting suggests to me that we are the team on the right track. In other words, the State House, Ruto and his men must pay attention to what is going on. I think the tax issue is diversionary tactics that, first of all, Ruto and this group are using. I think as Kenyans, we sometimes have a very short memory because just go back a few months or a year ago. What was the issue? What drove us to the booth? Why were we going to vote? I think the issue was corruption. The issue was how our tax money is being misused. The issue was that we wanted a country that is ruled constitutionally, a country that is growing, a country that is united. And actually the answer is in the whistleblower, because what he was able to reveal to us actually indicates how people, Kenyans, felt when they went to that booth, that they needed, first of all, clean people. Martha Karua, Raila Odinga. No anything like scandals around them. And so that was the feeling of Kenyans. And so what we have here is not what we prayed for, we sought, we voted for. It was a shock. But thank God for the whistleblower. And looking at that meeting and seeing the energy there gives me hope, because a lot of us have been depressed. And now at least we can see that light, and we are seeing the movement. This is a movement. This is tributaries, whether it is Kamkunji coming in, whether it is going to be other places that this, meeting is going to be taking place. So now it will come as one river, and that will sweep people out of that state house, because they have got no business being there under these circumstances. And so first of all, I love Mama Ngina, the way she answered. It was like that was the government, maturity, the wisdom, the poise to which she addressed the issue, and now you look at the government and you're asking yourself, what is this? I'm a man of cloth, so I could easily say there's a spirit that is guiding the state house. It's almost like an evil spirit. It's a spirit that almost creating a schizophrenic, they say one thing and the other, because the person who had the biggest scandal was Ruto. Okay? If taxes need to be paid, he should be the one to pay taxes, because he was giving money every weekend, and we'd like to see what he paid. But looking at this government publicly attacking an individual in any democratic nation, any industrialized nation, that could have been a resignation of that government, or even individuals who disclose any information about somebody's taxes. Because where do you buy your reputation when it's taken away from you by the government? How will they replace that? In other words, you've already, it's almost like condemned your citizen, a taxpayer. You already done a big damage. So these are people who are panicked. They don't know what to do. So it's almost like the Idi Amin, when he was being defeated, he was somewhere in Soroti announcing that we are in charge, we are in control. The Tanzanians, trying to rally the people, but nobody's listening. And I think there's a sweep. It's like an energy building up that is sweeping the nation. And I think we got to stay on the accelerator. We got to inspire our people, because those young people that were in Kibera, you look at them, they have no future if we allow this to happen, if we allow it to stay on, because first of all, there will be no other election, which means anarchy. And when anarchy starts, what is happening to the lower class, the poor? You see, if you're a thief and you steal, they'll ban you. They'll do something to you. But if you are the Rutos, you're protected. But now that line is already broken right now. So nobody's safe. The people who are there in the government protecting what cannot be defended, they are not safe. And so there's a lot of fear. A lot of people are afraid. But I want to encourage them not to be afraid, because this is a losing army. These are people that are bankrupt, and they're going down. And so these tactics these people use, Mzalendo is one of them, sent here is almost, please tell if you, I'm sorry to use your name, but let your people know that the only way to save a nation is truth and justice. Let them open the server. Let us see the truth. I don't mind anybody leading the nation, being a president, as long as they are legally and they are truthfully at the choice of Kenyans. But if they steal and come and tell us they're presidents, no, that should not be accepted. And let everyone resist, because this is not what we want. This is a road to anarchy. This is what has been the problem of Africa. Why we talk of ourselves, we compare ourselves to the tigers and others who are doing well. The issue is in corruption, lack of honesty. And here we have two excellent, a lady and a gentleman, whom we think can inspire the people back to what is workable, to a constitutionalism, that we can be able to be ruled and we can grow our economy. Kenya can just spark, can just grow. We are strategically placed in that part of the world, which means that Kenya, only by getting rid of people like Ruto and the corrupt lot, we are able to reach the height, because that's where we are, and that's where we should be if we get rid of this corruption. So to all of you, I appreciate all of you, and those of you who are not with us, we want to convince you that join the bandwagon, join us, because this is truth. The just shall live by truth. Truth shall set you free, and it's truth that will set us free as a people. And finally, of course, I watched Ruto attend church, and the ministers that were there are people that I love. They are my friends, very good friends of mine, but I disagree with them. Theologically, they are wrong. They talk of we are supporting you, you are you got up in 10 years, we'll support you in a church. First of all, in this country, if they said those words from the pulpit, they would lose their, their tax exempt status immediately. Because you can't speak, especially if you're a general secretary of a church or a bishop of the church, because the church has to stay neutral. But here, the church, these particular churches have taken position, and I'm sure the members are not with them. And so if you're a member of any church and you're told to do the wrong thing, please don't. Seek justice, seek truth, seek righteousness. And that's what God expects of us. So there's still hope for Christians. I'm speaking for Christians, that we can get on the right side and get our country back. And that's what I wanted to say. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you, sir, for your submission. I think you've expressed what we were talking about here clearly, and it's a challenge also, because sometimes when I look at the way, and I don't want to go to that route because sometimes we'll get lost in that forest, but I believe the Kenya Kwanza government has realized that the only way they can try to push their agenda is when they go to a place where nobody asks them any questions. If they get an opportunity to go to church, and instead of doing what they are supposed to be doing in church, they take that opportunity to pass a policy document that is retrogressive, a policy document that is not, officially certified through the parliament. And we were speaking here earlier on here, and Mzalendo, I think you were here. We said the government knows how these things are done. And if they know very well that this issue of taxes is supposed to be something that benefits the country and affects everybody, like they are saying it does, then they should bring this thing to parliament. We cannot have a president who goes to church to push his agenda. That is not the right way. And you know, when you go to a pulpit and you say things that these people are saying in church, nobody is going to ask you any questions. You know, the president comes to church and says that such and such people did not pay taxes. And the church is not that forum where you can ask him, can you provide the evidence? How are you going to question a government that does not want to be seen responsible by the things they are doing? I expected and I expect this government going forward wajue ile mahali ambapo wanafaa kufanyia kazi, na mahali ambapo wanafanyia kazi si kwa kanisa. We are making the church look bad in the eyes of people who believe in Christianity. Most of the people who come here are Christians, but we have never come here to propagate our Christianity because this is the wrong forum. Kama tungekuja hapa tuanze kuhubiri tukisema Kenya is a Christian nation like somebody here said, I think it was Duke, sijui kama ni Duke kama ni nani, then what about the other taxpayers who also want to be part of this cake, national cake? Wale ambao pia wanalipa taxes wataenda kuuliza nani wakitaka kufanyiwa services? Who is their president? What government will serve them? So we are trying to Christianize. Inaitwa Christianize ama namna gani? There's that word, sijui ni Christianize ama ni kufanya nini? The government is trying to hide under religion to protect their failures. It's not going to happen. I love the way now sasa wameanza kujitoa. Now it's like we are going back to the campaign. Raila Odinga anaitisha mikutano ya hadhara Kibera, Jakaranda. William Ruto na Rigathi Gachagua pia wako na mikutano yao juu ya magari. I want you to see where this thing will take our country. There's no service yenye itafanyika within hiyo siku yenye watakuwa kwa hiyo serikali, simply because, and I keep on saying, these people are not prepared for this job. They got what they wanted. They used every means to get what they wanted. And now that they have it, they don't know what to do with it. Mzalendo, and we will repeat here again, we are not against people paying taxes. We are not against Mama Ngina paying taxes. Use the right means to make people pay taxes, if at all you have evidence that they are not paying taxes. And don't remind us about waivers. There are so many people that have been waived. Kuna watu wengi sana, kampuni mingi sana. Even we are aware of the Konza City project. What happened with the Konza City project? Land was provided. And the investors were told, kujeni tutawapatia mashamba. It happens all over the country. You know, that's how you attract investment. Those are waivers. Unaleta investment, serikali inakwambia tutakatia percentage fulani, and then you do whatever you want to do as long as unasaidia mwananchi and you pay your taxes later. That is what has been happening. It's not new. So if William Ruto feels that the waivers ambazo zilikuwa zinapeana to some companies which he does not mention, why is he afraid of mentioning them? If he feels those waivers were not done legally, then we should have this thing going to court, and that is what we are saying here every day. Hakuna siku ambayo utasimama juu ya gari usukume policy document. It will never happen. This government is taking us around in circus, and that is why we are calling it out, because if at all we continue wasting time doing this, it's 6 months, nothing has happened. We will spend the 5 years, coming 5 years yenye wanasema watakuwa kwa hiyo kiti, and see no fruits. We have spent a lot of money. We spend a lot of time, you know, funding this government when it goes around every weekend, nasema naenda Thanksgiving, but we do not have anything to see for that. So let's make sure that as we continue to ask questions, we also hold these people accountable, because whether we agree with their policy or not, these people are paid by the taxpayers. And if we are paying them, then we have a right to question them. I don't know who was going next. Mise.
I will listen more, then come in later, if the next person can go in.
Very good. Secretary General.
Unanisikia poa?
Uko sawa ndugu yangu, endelea.
Sasa nasikiza hawa watu wa nini wanaongea juu ya taxes. Wamecheza very good video inauliza without services which taxes are you talking about, because what Ruto is avoiding is telling us what happens when we pay tax. Is this money going to be stolen by Gachagua like he has taken 200 million? Is it going to be stolen by the people in government? Because why should we pay taxes when we don't get the services that we need? So many roads have stalled. There are no boreholes. People don't have food. And yet somebody is yapping about taxes all over this Thanksgiving services that are devilish, because these are devilish Thanksgiving services. Hakuna Mungu hapo. Mungu anataka, Biblia inasema watu wanajulikana na matunda yao. You cannot keep on telling us in church how you're going to give us dams. We have not seen any dam. Streets, low-cost houses. So in fact, hii issue ya Kenyatta, as people are saying, is diversionary of the corruption, official corruption that is in this country. Because Hustler Fund, watu wamepatiwa 20 billion, 30 billion imeibiwa. That's a fact. It's a fact. Kiangalia hii mambo ya stima. Unakaa unakuta token inapanda. Who is stealing this? Ni Dende Nyoro ndio mwenye hiyo kampuni. These are thieves. And then they are telling us about taxes. So we cannot give a person until somebody now is telling us how he is going to manage our tax, while he even doesn't know how to grow taxes. Therefore, Makiadi, it is so irritating. Naona Mary akisema agitating. It is not agitating, it is irritating and very, very disturbing to see a government that has no shame telling us on how they are going to recover money from Kenyatta. And if you recover money from Kenyatta, what else will happen? Will we have free education? Will we have money? Will we have good roads? It is very irritating. Ndio naambia hii serikali, I prophesy isifike December kabla itaanguka economically na politically, because it has no agenda for Kenya, and we deserve better. You don't deserve people telling us hadithi za Bunwasi each and every time ati kila mtu mekubaliana, kila mtu alipe ushuru. Hii si mambo ya kukubaliana. Kama mtu anataka kulipa ushuru, analipa ushuru. We have nothing to discuss. Wacha Kenyatta alipe ushuru, Mary Wamboi, huyo mama ambaye aliiba 2 billion, alipe hiyo 2 billion, Kiroche alipe ushuru, Humphrey Kariuki ambaye anauza pombe bandia huku Mount Kenya, alipe ushuru. Do we want that? Don't tell us sijui shamba la wanyama na bado wewe ni unalinda wanyama wengine. In fact, where is your tax compliance yourself? The president of Kenya Kwanza, where is your tax compliance? Because we don't see it. And he's not just seeing it because I know inaweza tengenezwa na siku moja through executive authority. But we need to see audited accounts of chicken layering, of Amaco, of all these kampuni za kutengeneza miti ya stima. We need to see these things. Si kutuambia that I'm holier than thou, now I'm harassing others. Kenya must change. And I'm calling upon the people of Kenya. Hata watu ambao wanavaa suti and you're sure you are being irritated by this government and you're in the offices. It is time to get out of a keyboard, out of these social media platforms and participate with the Baba demonstration. Then, in fact, Baba now should not organize in a rally in Kamukunji or anywhere. After Machakos, we want to come to the CBD so that people can hear us. We come to the CBD of Nairobi, of Nakuru. Lazima watu wasikize. That is what makes government tickle. Hata ukiangalia Malaysia, uangalia Sri Lanka, ni unaenda street, mnafunga street. That is where tutaongelelea, lakini hatutaenda tena periphery. Kwa hivyo Makiadi, I'm still listening, but it is irritating to say the least. Thank you.
Alright, asante sana SG. Naona huko kwa safari, sijui kama unaenda State House ama weza kuwa umeamua kuenda mwenyewe kuwatoa. Duke uko pamoja na sisi kweli? Haya, sawa sawa, umenyamaza kwa muda. Acha nisikie kama umepata kitu mpya.
Okay, you're getting me?
Yes.
One statement I would like to put across is that we have challenges and there are many people struggling. That's a reality in Kenya. But one mistake which politicians do is when they take the situation, they assess some people are poor because one reason or another, they are struggling. And then they don't tell them the reality. They say that I am the one to, they actually tell them fantasy, that I'm the one to do APCD. So it's actually using the vulnerable situation of the desperate people and trying to use it for your advantage. That's what's happening in Kenya. So people, because those poor people have been there. There are people struggling. Even if you go back to 1970s, people used to die because of drought in many parts of Kenya. So if we understand that, and I'm very sure in a country like Kenya, even if we drop the prices of commodities to, if it's unga, say to 50, there are others who cannot afford that 50. So that scenario will prevail for a long period of time. Number two, most of you are giving threats that we are going to take this no more, we are going to go to street, we fight. So what happens next? And it's as if the impact of that war or fight, street fight or demonstration, the effects are not going to cherry pick and punish people affiliated to Kenya Kwanza and exclude the Azimio supporters. For example, if you are saying, if you go as per your statement that Raila Odinga has 8 million supporters and Ruto 5, so are you trying to say if the two fights, your side will win? It doesn't work like that, because that fight may go to. That's why my grandfather used to tell me that if you feel you are strong, assume you are strong and you are fighting. Because you are strong, you kill somebody. And because he was weaker, he never killed you, he cuts your hand. So you see, you are strong, but you have been affected. You would be, within the rest of your life, you will not have piercing an hand. So all these threats or war, something, it will not benefit anybody at the end. So we need to discuss, we have high cost of food. What's the solution? APCD. Education is expensive. The way Sarendo said, read one MP, all Raila actually address, maybe use one or two members of parliament to bring that motion, one free secondary education, totally free. With healthcare, all those proposals can be implemented using the current system we have, but they are not being implemented. It's because all what you are saying is politics, and people want to benefit politically from the reality or from the poor Kenyans by trying to promise them heaven. So that's what I can say.
Asante Duke. I don't know. So naona masaa yetu imeenda sana, and Mise has not spoken, so we shall allow Mise to speak. and then we shall start giving our closing remarks. Karibu Mise.
Asante sana, Julia, Santi, Makiadi, Richie, and the rest of the team, Lala, Mzalendo, and Duke. I think we came from election and our country was peaceful and it was settling in and peaceful transition. But again, we are going to chaos. I have been following on what the Azimio wants, but it's boring that what they're asking is too much for the already oozing economy of the Republic of Kenya. You know, I've listened to things that in the few meetings that have been called, I have been listening to the speech, and all I've heard people saying is only Ruto aliiba, kura ilifanya hivi, and even today's meeting, Baba was talking about stolen election. You know, it is about this is about Baba. You know, aliibiwa kura, oh nini ilifanywa. He's not talking about issues that are affecting Kenyans, and you know this is sickening. The other day I said something here, and people were making jokes, but think about it that while it's a right for everyone to picket, but it's equally it's noticeable that people are abusing the right to picket because all that money, if at all this money, if at all Baba cares for this mwananchi, that he wants to use the narratives that are being the narratives that are propagated, you know, the narratives that are being propagated, the mushrooming groups, the yanaitwa jeshi la Baba and so on, are not heading or directing our country to prosperity, but they are staging and positioning our country to tear our country down. You know, asiyekubali kushindwa si mshindani. You know, the truth is that Kenyans right now, what they need is not this narrative, is not this being used to make or amplify other people's agenda to ascend to power. Are you saying that kama Kenya, kama Raila hatakuwa president of the Republic of Kenya, Kenya haitawahi kuwa haitawahi endelea mbele? I mean, this is really sickening to see that people are using resources that can be channeled to help our country in the right direction to prepare a ground of bringing out of grounding our country. Hii pesa yote imetumika mafuta, logistics, printing, venue, security. This money would have been put towards a kitty to try and see as how we can raise or how we can buy food, how we can create food banks for people to go and get food. What is important is not the stolen election. What is important is talking about the basic tenets of life. What we need to talk about: food, shelter, you know, housing, affordable housing, affordable healthcare. This is the most immediate things that we need to hear from any leader. And I've seen people castigating William Ruto. William Ruto has been very categorical. In terms of collecting revenue, in terms of people paying taxes, he is not targeting anyone. He has said everyone, regardless of his position, black, white, as long as you are within the space of the Republic of Kenya, you have to pay taxes. Taxes must be paid. If there is exemption, I heard people saying it's a right, you can seek, people have a right to get exemptions. It is okay, but there are rules around exemptions, tax exemption. Everyone everywhere in the world, people pay taxes. And that's why those countries have progressed. But I want to agree, I think it's Baba who was saying, sorry, it was Lala who was saying that there are issues of corruption. Yes, we do have issues of corruption. But first of all, we must agree that tax evasion is part of the corruption that the president is trying to address. When you are supposed to pay, and then you corrupt your way through so that you can get exempted, or you are exempted unfairly, then you are being unfair to other people of other cadre who are paying taxes, and you're making money from the very same people who are paying taxes for your business, who are your customers, and then you are fighting not to pay the taxes. I think I really appreciate the sentiments of the Mamangina Kenyatta. She did not disagree with what William Ruto is asking Kenyans. She said, if people are not paying taxes, they should be taken to court. Even if wamechelewa hata mwaka moja, they should be taken to court. And the right agencies should follow through to make sure that this has been paid. So this whole issue of castigating William Ruto for not paying, for asking Kenyans to pay taxes, and yet most people who are castigating are people who live in countries where they pay taxes, is shameful. You know, paying taxes. Kenya Revenue Agency says kulipa ushuru ni kujitegemea. Sasa mbona sisi hatutaki kujitegemea tulipe ushuru? Mbona tunagombana tukiambiwa tulipe ushuru? It is the responsibility of the president. Maybe the approach that he is using, maybe he shouldn't be talking in public about it, but he maybe should have called the people responsible with KRA to make sure and enforce down, top down, to make sure that they have collected tax. So watu wengi ambao wanapata pesa mingi in Kenya, they don't pay taxes. And there is nothing wrong for the president of any country encouraging the citizens, number one, to save, number two, to pay their taxes. It is a responsibility of any leader, in fact, to encourage people, to tell them that if you pay, your taxes will work for you. If you pay taxes and taxes are well managed, then we will reduce on borrowing. I think that is what I want to say. But again, this political witch hunt, this political sabotage are delaying the progress, the affordable housing, the healthcare, the projects that are intended to be initiated. These are sideshows that are digressing. I mean, how selfish is the Prime Minister? I have not heard him talking of anything substance other than telling people wakuje, wataenda maandamano. Hii pesa yote wanaenda kwa hii mikutano. Let him make an appeal to all Kenyans to donate so that we can start by providing. It is not always that the government is the one that can provide you. That is why in other countries we have not-for-profit organizations which actually contribute towards from bottom up. That is where we have corporate social responsibilities. You know, I would appreciate the Prime Minister calling upon Safaricom, calling upon private entities, telling them that we are suffering, our people are suffering. Let us try to bring a basket from those who are not in power so that we can address the immediate need. after that, then we can now say we have issues with the election reforms.
Mr. Number, you wind up.
How are we going to address issues of the election reforms? Then we can now start talking, bring dialogue. This issue of Ruto kurushia Raila maneno, Raila kurushia Ruto maneno is not helping our country. It's bringing more bringing more animosity than development. People being development conscious. Let me stop there and say, those children of Raila Amolo Odinga, the children, the relatives of this member of parliaments, governors, MCAs, senators, they are more positioned, they are well guarded, their interests are guarded than the interests of my children and the children of Julia. But until we realize, even people who are clever have turned to be clever fools and are being used to advance the agenda, the selfish agenda of the Prime Minister wanting to ascend to power, to become the President of the Republic of Kenya. I think that is what I want to contribute tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss. Umekuja umechelewa. We would have answered you. There's someone in the comment section asking you whether the government gives Baba the funds to conduct the Kamukunjis, and why you are not asking Ruto to use the funds he's using walking around in the churches, giving in the churches to buy food for the hungry. Why you are not asking Ruto and Gachagua? I think they are all over the place in churches, like they're in campaign mode. Why you are not saying that they should also use the money they are using for that travel and those meetings? Na ile kwanza leo amepeana pesa kule kanisa Nakuru, hizo pesa zote, tell him to raise funds and buy food for the poor. And Baba is not using any government funds, so I think next time tutakujibu na pia tukwambie kama kwamba if there is no electoral justice, I think you don't expect Kenyans to move on. I mean, I think ni kama kupiga gita kwa mbuzi kuambia aimbe, because these Kenyans you see that are complaining about electoral injustice, I mean, they're not gonna relent until something happens, Mr. Mise. Let us just accept the reality. And another thing, I don't think who is preventing who from developing what? We have not seen any violence. People just wait for those kamukunjis. I mean, who is preventing Ruto from making sure we have the good health services? Who is preventing Ruto from addressing the food crisis? He's the one who has the government. He controls the treasury. He has the finances. Now, secondly, who is preventing people from paying tax? We have KRA and we have the courts. And furthermore, the courts have been pocketed by Ruto. Why can't KRA take those people to court? See, Ruto acha kupiga mdomo. You people, Ruto, Mr. Mise, you're a lawyer, and you know that you cannot accuse somebody unless you have evidence. Those counter accusations, kuropokwa kwa kanisa, ati watu walipe tax, is a waste of our time. And I never heard Kenyatta asking anyone to pay taxes, but I think I saw people that were taken to court in the era of Kenyatta because they didn't pay taxes. And we only came to learn that they didn't pay taxes because they were taken to court. So we didn't hear Kenyatta ameenda kwa mkutano akasema watu walipe tax, but we saw people taken to court. So Mr. You are a lawyer, and I think you understand that clearly, that anyone who is not paying tax should be taken to court. Kama Mangena alisema, Mangena is old, I think she's above 90, but she's reasoning, she's very sober and reasoning more than 50-year-olds who understand the law and cannot understand that it is the responsibility of KRA to follow those who don't pay taxes. That is side shows. Mr. Lala explained clearly, and someone else also explained clearly, that the biggest challenge we have in Kenya is corruption. How do we use the resources that we collect from the government? How are they utilized? Is there prudent utilization of what we have, Mr. Mise? And I think also somebody, Linus Kaikai, has given us a good analysis that it is good to insist that people pay taxes, but it is more important to make sure that the tax collected is prudently utilized. So Ruto has talked about taxes. Mr. Mise, have you heard Ruto saying he'll fight corruption? If you had, send me those links and the instances that the president of Kenya has said that he will fight corruption. He cannot open his mouth against corruption, because him and corruption are synonymous. I think that is his second name, and Gachagua. Mr. William Ruto and Gashagua's second name is corruption. And you have seen the conditions, the statements from the IMF, what Linus Kaikai was presenting. And I don't blame the IMF. I don't know why they were so late to discover that. Even I understand the Americans are up in arms and are giving such conditions. I don't know why they are behaving like they are surprised, because they are not expecting any miracle from the Kenyan government. So, Mise ngekujibu zaidi, lakini you are a lawyer and you know that you cannot accuse anyone unless you have evidence. And you also, I think you are learned enough to understand that it's the responsibility of KRA to find out those people who pay taxes. Even those, for your information, now we are giving our returns. Those of us who have a KRA PIN, we are giving our returns right now. And KRA has my records, even though I'm living in America. It is not rocket science. Find out what Julia has in Kenya and what business Julia is doing. It is not rocket science. I have my PIN. Every business I need to register, I use my PIN. Anything I'm doing, any bank account I have, I use my PIN. So it is not rocket science for KRA to know what I have, what I know, what I make. So if you ask KRA how much tax Julia pays, I don't have to be in Kenya to pay tax. They don't have to threaten to arrest me, because the records are clear. So what is this high class nonsense mna present hapa na Bwana Ruto? Mwache kutusumbua. Hiyo ni upuzi. At somebody is acting. Ruto said wajinga waliisha Kenya. What is wrong with him? Doesn't he remember what he said? We understand clearly how tax is collected. If Kenyatta has businesses and Mama Ngina have businesses, it is not rocket science to make them pay for those businesses. Because first and foremost, you need licenses for those businesses. So they just need to determine how much they have not paid and take them to court. And you people, any of you who is being paid by Kenya Kwanza government to come and speak nonsense here, can you call them and tell them we want to see them sue their family, the first family, in court? Just like the other way waliropokwa juzi wakasema ati Kenyatta alipanga kuua Chebukati. And Ruto was asked to take Kenyatta to court. He shut up. He shut his mouth, his foolish mouth, because he had no evidence. You see, he was asked apeleke hiyo kesi kotini. Huyu ni rais wa aina gani anaropokwa bila evidence? Why does a president behave like a villager? Or those people who have nothing to do at the end of the day? He keeps on coming with outrageous statements. Outrageous, you know, something. These outrageous statements come from Kenya Kwanza side, because even us here, I cannot just here start saying that Moses amefanya hivi na sina evidence. I mean, I'll think very hard before I say something or I make allegations, because most may say take me to court. But Ruto is fond of us to divert us. Now the point is, he's trying to divert our attention. However, this first family debate has generated to something else, and it is now gaining momentum, because I think it is giving Baba more support. And you need to remind your boss, you people support him, this Zakayo man, that the people who didn't vote for him from Mount Kenya region, they did not vote for him because they were sympathizers of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Sasa mkisikia baba akisema kuna mass action, sasa ndio mtaona mass action back from Mount Kenya region. You have seen what Jimmy was saying in a church, and the members of that church were agreeing. They were in Kiambu. They seem to be in agreement with Jimmy Wajigi. What is that telling you? That Mount Kenya region was not here pro-Ruto. And you go there insulting their son and trying to intimidate them and to humiliate the old lady, the first lady, at kumdarao, at hadharani, and then some foolish MPs from Kenya Kwanza, they are very mouthy to open their mouths to open their mouths so that the first lady doesn't pay her taxes. Has you people, as you wind up, you tell me, has Mr. William Samoei Ruto given us a statement of what he owns and how much tax he has paid? If he has not done that, he has no moral authority to point at me and ask me whether I have paid taxes. Others anyamaze na mimi ni nyamaze, tuache KRA itufuate. So if you hear, you people, if you hear I was sued by KRA because I didn't pay tax, that's fine. So I want to say, the other day we asked Ruto to sue Uhuru Kenyatta by making allegations that he wanted to assassinate Chebukati. Now, we want William Ruto, like Mama Ngina said, to sue, to tell KRA to sue the first family for not paying tax. In fact, Mama Ngina aliwaambia na wakitaka wauze her property. She said she was very bold. So, and if by the next few weeks we don't hear anything from KRA, then this Kenya Kwanza propaganda should not be encouraged from this platform because it is high-class nonsense. And as for Baba holding Kamkunjis, and you are asking that he should use that money, who gave him that money? Ni ninyi mlimpatia Baba hiyo pesa akafanya hizo Kamkunji? Jesus answer, see, you tell Ruto to save his money. He's going to church from Narok to from Narok to Nakuru, to Rongai, to Nyeri. That money, let him stop tangering. Let him save that money and buy food for hungry Kenyans. He's the president now, the Republic of Kenya, and the bulk stops at him. As for Baba mobilizing people, and you people you are saying he's fighting, if he's fighting for his own presidency, well and good, he has a right as a Kenyan to fight for his own presidency. But as for me, I agree with Baba. We must fight against this electoral injustice. And I think nothing is going to stop Kenyans from that. So that never again shall anybody steal elections and think he can get away with it. Never again. On top of the problems that we are already having. Karibu Moses, tulikuwa tunasema tunafunga. So you are the last person kuingia kwa show, then we give our closing remarks.
Asante sana Sister Julia. How are you? How are you, Miss Mzalendo and Lala Richard? The other name is hard to pronounce. Is it Richard or what? You know, sometimes when I listen to the likes of Missy, I get confused sometimes. I totally don't understand. Because Missy, you know exactly what is happening in Kenya. And I believe deep in you, inside you, you know the truth. Because it's like you are making your points. You are directing them in the wrong direction. Because now,
What happened, Moses? Miss, did you hack him? Miss, you are the one who is next to him.
I think he was at the verge of lying, so I caught up with him.
Okay, Makiadi, karibu. We have all talked. Mose has hacked Moses, so Moses is not able to talk. So blame or we are also going to accuse him the way they accuse us for nothing without evidence. So we are going to, Misa is the first suspect. So we were about to close Makiadi. You can choose from whichever corner you want us to give our closing remarks.
I think I can see Moses' device has an issue. So as he continues to sort his issue, I think we can begin from Mzelala there on top. In just 2 minutes, give us your closing remarks.
Thank you guys for their contributions, and I think to Mzalendo and I think Mose, I think the big issue here is electoral justice, and I would just ask a question: if whoever is the president of Kenya, we discover that they are not Kenyans. They're suppressing their identity. Do we let them continue on because they're already president, or do we recall them, or they have to resign? If somebody steals an election, which is the most, I think the constitution, I think the most important, tenet of democracy. This is election, is that ballot. If somebody takes it away from you, you don't have a democracy, you don't have a system. And for Kenya, it's even serious, because if we chose a new direction and then we are forced through some dubious means to follow wrong direction, I always say it's worse than a coup, because coups come when people are dissatisfied with the system, and so righteous men, young people who are misguided come in and take over the government. But at least their intentions are very clear. They want to clean up the system. But here is a situation where the people have decided to go a different direction. So the only thing that Mr. Ruto could have done was to lead the country into finding out what really happened to the basic tenet of democracy, which is that ballot box. Who truly won? You watch the Wakanda movie, the first one. Leadership was settled by a fight. See, because nobody wants to be legitimate. And here is a situation where the president can simply say, if I believe I won, let us open the system and let us see what exactly went on. And because he knows is clearly is on the wrong, he knows that something happened. He knows that Chebukati had something to do with it. He's defending the illegality and the corruption, the mother of all corruption, which is really that ballot, stealing Kenyans' votes. To me, I think that's the heart of everything else. And so when we talk about helping people, buying food and all that, right now, who can trust the system that we know does not care about the people? Really, they don't care. Look at the decision that they're making, in terms of helping those who are down. They're not, they're hustlers. And so for me to trust the system, it will work itself, will reform itself. No. Everything starts with that thing called the ballot. If we can restore that now, it will help us. If we don't, we're just postponing it to our kids. We go to the next election, nobody trusts it, and we keep on in the same trajectory. We go the same direction, and we are heading Somalia into Somalia, Somalia way. So the thinking now is the issues with us here, let us all rise up and look at what the problem really is and face it. But to tell us, things will get better, go buy food and all that, that's not solving a problem. That's a band-aid. And the wound is getting deeper and deeper on the inside. People are angry, they're mad. They know exactly what they want, what they voted for. Let us restore it. So that is my closing argument. And I don't think the meeting should stop. I think they should go on. And I think Ruto should step down. That's my closing remark. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, Zelala. Let me give Moses an opportunity to give his remarks, as I think that will also be a combination of your closing remarks. Unfortunately, we were closing and you have issues with your connectivity, so I'll give you just an opportunity to make your remarks and also probably do a closing remark on that.
Thank you, Mr. Richie. Yeah, I was I've been watching, by the way, and let me also respond to what Mise said. So, Bwana Mise, you know, I believe we also know that without justice, there can never be peace. So before we say anything or before we talk and we pretend like we are not saying what is happening, we have to ask ourselves: is there justice in Kenya right now? Because without justice, there can never be peace. So until that one is being sorted out, that's when you can say now, at least we can progress and let's put the rest aside and move forward. But as you can see, and they have good points. Honestly, you have good points, but you are directing them in the wrong direction. You are sending them to the wrong people because your points are good as they are. Just send them to the KK government because they are the one collecting taxes. They are the one in power. They are the one controlling the economy, right? So if you talk, it's like you are leaving the person who is responsible for the whatever is happening in Kenya, the cost of living, everything is shooting high, and you are just giving information to the wrong people because you and I know that the Raila and the Azimio, they are not the one collecting tax, you know. But the problem with the current government, according to my own point of view, they are collecting the taxes, but they are feeding from poor and feeding the rich because they are after collecting you. The only thing I could see, you see them traversing the whole country, making crusades as if they are pastors and what. So like leaving the offices, abandoning their duties, they are always in prayers, and of which to me it looks like it's just they are pretending. Maybe there is something behind that we can't see because I've never seen Christians or born again who always deal with revenge because whenever you go to church, they'll tell you to forgive and move on. But if you see the government, how they're acting, whatever is happening, talking of taxes, yes, I believe everyone should have to be to pay taxes. But what is the intention of that? It looks like they are targeting some individuals. That is totally wrong. You understand? So let it let them make policies with good intention that everyone, because we all believe that taxes are the one that can pay our can boost our economy, but it should be done in the good way with good intention, you know. So Messi, before you say that as mere they are wasting money and they are being funding you honestly. It's like you're not seeing the numbers of people that are coming to attend those rallies. That only that shows you that people are yearning, people are suffering. You know, I always say that I believe that people will always stand with those ones whom they think that they are always there for them. You know, people will stand with those ones whom they believe that is there with those ones who are oppressed, and they will never stand with the oppressors. So the Kenya government, this Kenya Kwanza government, looks like they are not having ears. They don't care about the ordinary people, you know. So people will never go to them. If you want to know that these people are not being funded, Miss, you know that. They are not being funded. Who can fund that? The people you are seeing, millions of people who have that money. Eh? But by the way, Raila is being loved for freely, because I've never seen even those people who are attending rallies being given even a bottle of water. No way. Even the arranging transport that these buses should drop them to the ground for where we are going to make our meeting. No way. People are transporting themselves. People are feeding on themselves. Others will come and spend the whole day without eating anything, even drinking a bottle of water. So if you guys talk about funding and wasting money, sometimes we should stop pretending and face the reality. People, even you can hear the crowd when Raila and the other leaders are talking. You hear what the people telling them. They are even demanding to make the journey short. That you should hurry. We need to demanding our victory. They have robbed from us. So until this issue is solved, don't think that people will always accept and move on. It has been happening all along, but it's like they must solve it for once and for all. It's for good for you and every Kenyan. You know, right now you can stand in this and say that we should forget, we should call people to unite and move on our country. Yes, but think about when it happens next time, when you are nowhere. Maybe you are not a supporter of the person that will take over after Ruto. How will you feel? So it is better we support things that we believe that, even though we are in support or we are not in support in the current government or whichever government that will take over, it benefits all of us. We live happily, you know. So your points direct them to the current government, as I summarize, because they are collecting taxes, but for me, I don't see what are they doing with it, apart from, I think, giving orphan gifts to churches and you know. And also, Miss, if I may ask you, do you believe that this government is delivering, is doing, they are performing their duties? If I may ask you, if you believe so, then can you? It's now already 6 months, if I'm not mistaken, 6 or 5 something. Can you mention the things that are there, or any projects, or that they have done, or they have completed, or they have started? Because to me, it appears to me, it looks like they are good in lightening fire. They are lightening their fire, and then they run to cool it. So they are the one causing all this. I remember Raila after court ruling, he said no, we don't agree with what the court has ruled, but we respect, you know. So he gave these people the time, he gave them a chance to prove him wrong. But they have been doing showbiz, running this right and left and center. So they have caused this problem themselves. So as I summarize, Mr. Messi, there is no one funding people, but people are suffering. People, they are suffering. They are looking to who can lead them to at least to make their lives better, to change their cost of living, because uh, I don't see anything good so far. And if you are someone who can work, who can work for people, at this time we would have been start feeding at least at least the fruits. At least we would have seen one or two, three. But up to now, we are just seeing prayers and crusades all over the country. Thank you. Let's give it to Stony PK.
Yeah, thank you, my brother Masare Moses. I think I was afraid that people still want to debate and time is running out, lakini nimeona Stone PK amekuja, so I'm happy. Stone PK akiwa hapa ninajua itaendelea. So Mise, sidhani kama itakuwa ni closing remark kwako. Umekuja kama umechelewa, and Stone PK is here, he's still here to run the show. So Stone PK, kama unataka ni drop link kwa watu, I can do that, but mimi nimekaa hapa almost 5 hours, tumesaidiana na Julia leo, and it's good at least umekuja, so that wakina Moses hapa wako wamemaliza. Moses, umesema umesummarize sasa na Stone PK ndiye ameingia.
Let me just ask one question to Mise. I close with it.
No,
Mise,
Moses, we are not closing. Stone PK is here now. Yes,
No,
Stone.
Richie,
okay.
Yes.
Richie, unajua inategemea kama watu walikuwa wamecontribute wamechoka badala ya rudia. We can do another 1 hour. I can do another 1 hour.
All
Kama
these guys
rudia mambo.
No, all these guys are new here. Sisi na Julia ndio tumekaa, tulikuwa tunafikiria tutafunga, lakini hawa wote wameingia sasa, they are still fresh. Kwanza Misi sidhani kama kuna kitu amesema. I believe he has a lot. Ile rally ameona Kibera hajaiona rally kama hiyo, so bado wako na maneno mingi ya kusema, na mimi sitaki kumharibia nafasi. So I'll drop the link in the chat, and I'm sure kuna watu ambao walikuwa wanafikiria tunafunga mapema, walikuwa wanataka kuingia, so let me kuongezea hapa watu kwa panel ndio muendelee, alafu kesho pia ni siku ingine tutakutana. So mimi yangu nitamalizia kwa kusema asante sana kwanza Stone PK kwa kuja kuturelieve hapa. Mzalendo tumekuwa na yeye hapa, ameturushia propaganda, tumeipiga, ingine bado amekatalia, but tutakutana. What I want to say is this as I finish. I think this is a worth cause. What Raila Odinga is doing is a worth cause. Nimekuja kugundua ya kwamba tukimwachilia Nabii nafasi ya kufanya zile vitu anafanya, hatutakuwa na nchi. So we must continue fighting. You know, some of us wenye tulikuwa wakati wa mzee Moi, tulikuwa tunajua serikali inayoendeshwa vibaya vile inakaa. We saw that. And so when we saw Kibaki come into power and the freedom that came into our country, we would not accept to go back to where we were. Now, some of these things zinafanyika kwa nchi yetu, if they are not they go unchecked, you know, we will be going back to the Moi era, and that is what people will not accept in our country. When we see something wrong, like Martin Luther King Jr. said, ni Martin Luther ama ni nani huyo Stone PK? Is it Martin Luther ama ni the civil rights champ huyo alikuwa not Martin Luther King, the other one, the one that was in Congress, alikuwa anaitwa nini? The guy that passed alikuwa wa Georgia, I can't remember his name. Sijui ni kwa nini namsahau jina. Mzalendo, sinikumbushe this guy mwenye alikuwa Congress Georgia district moja hapa Georgia. Alikuwa anasema when you see something wrong, say something, don't keep quiet. Yeye alikuwa ni mwanafunzi wa, naweza muita, he was a student of John Lewis, ndio huyo Brian Richard amenipatia hiyo jina, John Lewis. Alikuwa anatuambia ukiona kitu kibaya kinafanyika usinyamaze, sema, kwa sababu ukisema hiko kitu ni kibaya utakuwa umesaidia mwingine na utakuwa umezuia hicho kitu kurudiwa. So this government ya kina Mzalendo na Mise, the people who come here to claim that they are independent thinkers, we want to tell you this: we will not keep quiet as you destroy our country. What we are seeing is incompetence, and we will call incompetence for what it is. Mimi nitasema namna hii, we have seen a movement, people are tired. Watu wanataka kusema ya kwamba hii serikali is not only illegitimate, but it's bad for the country. It is bad for the for the governance, for the liberties that we fought for. Na kama hatutachunga huyu mzee anaitwa William Ruto, atatuangamiza. So we will keep on the fight, and we hope very soon he knows his days are numbered. He knows his days are numbered. Baba hata achilia yeye. Raila Odinga alisema juzi ya kwamba if there is anything he is ready to do ni kukufa because of Kenya. If I were Raila Odinga, I have everything. Watoto wa Raila Odinga kama vile mtu amesema hapa hawalali njaa, so he doesn't need to fight for anybody, but because of the love of the country na kule ambako aliona wakipigania hii nchi kufika mahali iko, he is not going to allow that to happen when he is still alive. Stone PK, mimi nawatakia usiku mwema. I was here for quite some time, lakini nitakuwa ninasikiza nyuma pale, so asanteni sana.
Makiadi usiende, kuna kitu nilikuwa nataka kurespond. Ulisema kama Stone PK ataniruhusu. Unajua Stone PK alikuja jana na vitisho, lakini sisi Stone PK tumekuzoea. Wewe ni mtu mzuri, lakini ni sura ya kazi, lazima uonekane unafanya kazi. Lakini nilikuwa nataka kurespond kwako Makiadi. You mentioned of you said that we want to Christianize Kenya. That's what you said, you know. I'm not sure if you know what the preamble of the Kenyan Constitution talk about. I don't know if you know that which you are trying to dismiss is protected under at the beginning, at the preamble of the Constitution. I will invite you to look at the preamble and read the acknowledging, honoring, proud, respectful, committed, recognizing, exercising, and adopting, and enacting. So do not mislead us by when people are exercising their rights of worshiping, because as much as you want to look at it as an impediment or something that you do not agree with, you need to be reminded that the same constitution that you are referring to at the beginning actually says that the supremacy of the Almighty God of all creation. So the constitution acknowledges and recognizes the supremacy of the Almighty God of creation. So I just want to tell you that it is good. And if you look at the proud, it says also of our ethnic, cultural, and religious diversity, and determined to live in peace and unity as one indivisible sovereign nation. So usifanye hii mambo ya mchezo kwa maneno ya religion, and when people are exercising their rights, do not criticize, do not usiwafanyie msaha kwamba wanaenda kanisani. Matter of fact, I think these people have been going to church, wakitoa sadaka trickles down kwa wafanyikazi wa kanisa, it goes down, inaingia kwa serikali. Lakini sasa Raila hatujamuona akitoa hata sadaka popote. Kwa hivyo hatuoni kama yeye ile pesa hata tunamlipa. Unajua, we have something called corporate social responsibility, where organizations are also compelled to spend and develop communities where they are making profits from. Lakini sasa Raila yeye anakula bwana, lakini atoi hata sadaka. Kwa hivyo we encourage him also aende sadaka, afanye hivyo. Ndio organization kama hizi ndio tumeona zikishughulikia wakati kumekuwa na shida, kama kanisa yanashughulikia maswala na nini ya wananchi, maslahi ya wananchi. Asante.
Stone PK,
Akia Mungu Mise.
Let me just say this. Mimi, I don't think I'm going to respond to Mise.
Don't go that low. Don't.
You know ile vitu Mise umeongea when hii show itaisha, hebu enda urewind hii show usikize ile kitu umesema. Alafu kesho tukipata nafasi ukuje uniambie kama hiyo kitu ina make sense. Because mi hata nimeshindwa nitasema nini. We mwenyewe umenisemea katiba inasema mambo ya religion, sijui nini hiyo vitu mingi umesoma. Hakuna mahali katiba imetaja Christianity. Kuna katiba mahali imetaja Muslim.
Wacha kumchambulia Richi. Mpe homework huyo mtoto.
Wewe ufanye namna
mtoto.
Mimi nakubali, mimi ni mtoto, nakubali.
Hizi anga than mimi ni kaburo kadogo, acha kapatie homework.
Mise Lizi Njoki anasema ya kwamba ni kuambie ya kwamba Jesus Christ himself was crucified by people.
Kwa hivyo
wale watu ambao walikuwa nafuata Yesu akiwapatia mikate na akiwaponya, wao wenyewe ndio walisema hatumtaki, tunataka Barnaba, na wakamsulubisha. So hii maneno ya religion hii, this is something yenye we can debate here for the whole night na hatutasikizana at the end of the day. But what I want to tell you is this, Mise. Ukristo wako usimlazimishie mwingine. Uislamu wako usimlazimishie mwingine. Dini yako usimsukumie mwingine, na usinionyeshe ya kwamba wewe ni Mkristo kunishinda. Tuache maneno ya kuchanganya dini na serikali. Serikali ni tofauti, dini ni tofauti. Kama unataka kuchapa kazi ya serikali, basi fanya kazi ya serikali bila unafiki. Ile kitu ambayo tunakataa hapa ni kitu inaitwa unafiki. Unafiki kwa kizungu Stone PK ni nini?
Ndio ni
inaitwa mischief.
It's not mischief. There's a good word for that. It's not mischief. Inaitwa namna gani? Sijui kama there's a good word, there's a very good word.
Strong one.
A very strong word. Sijui nani hapa kwa comment section anaweza tupatie.
Comment section tusaidieni hapo.
Comment section, can you help us? Unafiki ni nini?
Si conmanship, sijui ni.
Si mischief. Mischief is at least ni kidogo, ni cheap kidogo.
Hiyo ni kidogo. Na utapeli
ndio hiyo. Mohamed Abajilo ametuambia inaitwa hypocrisy.
Hypocrisy si unafiki.
Ndio hiyo sasa Mise.
Lakini unajua kwa sababu nyinyi mnapenda ile kitu yenye can advance your narrative, that is true. Unafiki sio nini, sio hypocrisy.
It is hypocrisy. That kwa Bible inaitwa hypocrites. Hiyo ndio inaitwa unafiki. Na ndio ninakueleza namna hii. Wanasiasa, especially wanasiasa ambao wako kwa kiti sahi, wanajiita rais na naibu wake, kila siku wanatukumbusha ya kwamba ni Wakristo. Ukristo wako hauna uhusiano wote na kazi ambayo Wakenya walikupatia kufanya. Governance is different from religion. Wafanye ile kazi walipatia. Waache kutukumbusha kila siku ati yao hawana madhambi. Hiyo haitusaidii na chochote. Gachagua kutokuwa na dhambi haitaongeza unga ya ugali kwa nyumba yako. Haitapunguza bei ya mafuta. Haitakupatia kazi. The policies that they make and the policies that they implement are the ones that will change the lives of the Kenyans. Hii mambo inaitwa hypocrisy, waachane nayo. Na Mise, usijaribu kuja kutuambia hapa mambo ingine ati sijui mambo ya religion in the constitution. Tafadhali. Unafiki, Mike Ngoge, mimi ninafikiria unafiki ni hypocrisy. I stand corrected, but that is what I wanted to pass across, Mise. So hii yako ni sarakasi tu natuambia. Stone PK, uwanja ni kwako.
Aya, asante Richi, wacha tusikize hao watu na ndugumize akitukanganya basi. Mise, continue submitting my friend. You had said ngoja nini? Yes.
Asante sana. Karibu sana.
Wait. Let me also
Moses,
ask you one question.
I thought you have a question. You raise your hand, Moses. Okay,
so,
go ahead.
Mise, we have people who can pretend as if they are believers or they are, but deep in them, they are not. Because like Richie said, we we like people who always go for prayers, and we need to see you after prayers. You know, when you go to church or in mosque, the whatever they preach there, it's all about unity, peace, and kind. But if you look to Kenya government, they're always in church praying, even in their home. Sometimes I see them worshiping. But when they come after prayers, they do wonders. So it's not all about being in church. We want to see kindness from you, you know, reaching out to those people who are crying, you know. But they are in churches, but after prayer, after closing their prayers, you see them attacking, abusing people. In church and mosque, they preach about unity. But now more so if you are the president and you are deputy, you are going to church. What are you learning from there? What are those? To me, Mister, I'm sorry, but I do believe I'm at. It's like I'm yet to believe that these people that are going there. It's like they are trying to compromise those leaders, church leaders. That it's like they are zipping up their mouth. They should not talk about what is happening, and trying to bribe them, because that's what I'm saying. Because you can't tell me that we are always in church, and you can't see the outcry of people. You can't see the cost of living for people, of your citizens, and you can't. After church, there is no way I've ever seen them preaching about unity. They are always preaching hatred, abuses,
What is the
morning
question?
and evening.
What is the question?
No, I will come with the question. It will be last. I'm just a moment. But to you, if you believe that these people they are going to church for prayers, to me it looks to be no. They are going there to look for the. It's like how can I call it? They are just going there to. It's like to compromise those church leaders, because they know that maybe someday they will come to at least to comment on whatever is happening. My question is, if you see those Nabi always in church preaching, gossiping and what, but when it comes to appointing it's like their cabinet, the ministers and what, they are appointing people with question marks, people who are having court cases. Mr. Now I will ask you to go through the entire cabinet of KK government. Give me 4 of them whom you believe that these people are really convincing. They qualify to be in the airport, and they are hopefully they will deliver. Because to me, if I look the entire cabinet, you see you can go through like more than 3 times, but you can't find someone.
Moses, why are you answering yourself? You asked Mise. So you leave Mise to answer. Let him give you 4. You asked him to give you 4. Alafu siwachi hapa. You started answering yourself. So Mise will have nothing.
And you see, this is the confusion that is among the Azimio, my Azimio friends. And let me ask you, lakini Waswahili kweli walikuwa ni Waswahili, walikuwa wanajua kwamba vitu zingine, walisema kwamba nyani haoni kundule. Huyu hapa ni baba, amebeba Biblia na amevaa nguo ya kanisa. Hapa mbona hamjasema baba haendi kanisani ama anaenda kanisa ikiwa imemfaa? You know, but that aside, let me say that I actually wanted to address the issue you raised, Moses. Moses, you asked a very good question. And let me read it because I wrote it down. You said, is the government delivering on their mandate? Okay. Now, If this is the question Raila wants us to discuss, absolutely, we are very much welcome to answer that question, to engage, because this is a policy issue. All right? Because this is their mandate, their manifestos they gave, they promised us that this is what they're going to do. Unfortunately, this is not what Raila is asking us to discuss. What Raila is asking us to discuss is the stolen election. Okay? And this is where we have a problem. And when he's talking about this stolen election, he's telling vijana ambao hawana kazi, you know, tuende beba va, tuende katika mikutano, tuende State House, let us march to State House. Instead of telling them, you know, Raila has a lot of money. Let him create business, invest, let him create businesses and also advocate for investors and his friends, the likes of Akina Jimmy Wanjigi, the likes of all these people. Let us invest in our own country. Let us industrialize our country. By industrialization, William Ruto does not stop you from industrializing our country. It does not stop you by investing or starting a business in Kenya. But by so doing, it means you will create jobs. Those passionate youths should be able to speak from position of authority, from position, an enabled position, not from a position of myopia, you know, because most of these people, when they come to the stage, they are drunk and stupor. They are even under influence to the extent that they are there to please, and they have no agenda. They do not even know what agenda the prime minister wants. But if we want to discuss about issues that basic tenets of life, food, water, security, clothing, sleeping or housing, you know, for our people, then this is a national dialogue. This one, Raila will score. But if Raila is welcoming us, you know, to tell us that, oh, election iliibiwa, it is a good question. It's a good cause at the wrong time. You know why it's the wrong time? Kenyans are hurting, you know? Kenyans are hurting. Right now, Raila has the authority. If you say Raila has the authority of 8 million people, then let us assume 2 million people are able to invest into businesses, into business. Then these people, if 2 million people are going to invest into business, they will create jobs, more than 2 million jobs. Assume even 500 people, assume even 100,000 people will invest and start business in Kenya. How many jobs will they create? Just by appealing. So, my brother Moses, what we are saying, we are not dismissing the prime minister that he doesn't have a cause that he's championing, but we are saying this cause is a lost cause, is a cause that is misplaced, and the agenda of this cause is not for the Republic of Kenya. This cause is only an individual and selfish cause, and this is not going to benefit the people of the Republic of Kenya. My children will not benefit. But if it's a government or a policy issue, my children and your children will benefit from it. Now, let me tell you something. A lot of people are saying, Raila, hii pesa si ya Raila, serikali haijapea Raila pesa. Hatujasema ama mzalendo wao ulisema serikali imepea Raila pesa. Hatujasema serikali imepea Raila pesa. But we are saying food, water, clothing, security, affordable housing, these things they are basic necessities for survival. And these things cannot be met without the aid of charitable organizations. Let us donate to these charitable organizations. The money that we are spending on these untimely meetings, what is the immediate? Watu kukufa ama maandamano mikutano ya kura ambazo zitafanyika 2027. When Michuki came to power, he proposed a reform within the Ministry of Transport. When he was the Minister for Public Works and Transport, he proposed reforms. Akasema kwamba lazima kila mtu avae belt, you know, it was a paradigm shift. Akasema kila mtu lazima avae belt, na akasema kwamba kila dereva lazima avae uniform. This was mind-boring, and at the end of the day, people never impressed it. People fought Michuki, you know, and Michuki said, if you rattle a snake, you will know the consequences. Today we enjoy the benefit. Ile kuibiwa tulikuwa tunaibiwa iliisha. That is why even these fights that you are seeing, people are fighting about taxes. I hope that the President of the Republic of Kenya will realize the importance of good and proper management of the tax that is asking the Kenyans to pay, so that this will come to be realized and impressed in the future, just like the way we are impressing the transport ministry, the transport sector, the matatu sector, whereby now hakuna wizi. So let us not discredit everything that the president is suggesting because we don't like him. You don't like him, is your problem. The president is not there to do what you want him to do. He has the government, he has the priorities and the agenda of how he wants to run the government. So for us is to sit back and criticize him. If he's stealing from us, we need to point out and come with evidence, substantial evidence, and say, Mr. President, you said you were paying taxes, but look, the courts are here. You're not paying taxes. Your business, your Western hotel, whatever business that you're doing is not paying this much taxes. You're stealing this much from taxes. And then we shall hold him accountable. Why are you rattled? Why are you panicking when the president is saying that people cannot use position of authority to evade paying taxes? Taxes, sisi tukilipa taxes tunajitegemea. Kwa hivyo ndugu yangu, mimi nawaomba watu wa Azimio, kama sisi wote kama Wakenya, kama kuna jambo ambalo tutalijadili, liwe ni jambo ambalo linatufaidi sisi zote, sio mtu binafsi wa kutuambia kwamba lazima Ruto atoke ili yeye aingie mamlakani. Nani alisema yeye ndiye kielelezo chema cha kiongozi bora? Nafikiri kuna watu wengine ambao ni viongozi vyema wanaweza kuwa mamlakani. Asante.
Next, who wants?
Wacha niongezee tu kitu hapo. Habari Stony PK.
Salama.
Nimeona rally yenu ilikuwa mzuri sana. Ijapokuwa I've not seen any clip being discussed about the rally that happened today. It means that there was no content or what. Sijaona kitu yote imeletwa hapa. Now, Missy, I think you've said something very, very important about the president. The issue of Ruto going to church on Sunday. I mean, that is, what did I say? Is it a right or is it his lifestyle? Huyo ni mtu anapenda kwenda kwa kanisa. If your leader is not mtu anapenda kwenda kwa kanisa, you should not have a problem with that. And politics is about numbers. Numbers in that hawa watu ni watu wa siasa wanatafuta kura. I remember Trump here alimanage to get evangelical churches together to support his bid in his first term. Yeah, akamanage to get the church community kumsupport. It is normal for politicians to go to the church and seek support. That is not something that is out of the norm. So if you think that it is not an important electoral college, then ole wenyu, you will not have that vote from the churches. Another issue that we keep on deliberating here, which I find it tiring now, are the issues of elections. Elections imeshaisha, mshindi amepatikana. We have laws. Kenya, we have got laws. We are not a failed state. and the law is very, very clear. If you feel disgruntled, you go to court. Ukienda kotini, ushindwe kesi ama mwingine ashinde kesi, tunarudi uchaguzi kama vile Maraga alisema. I don't know why you don't mention that that is a judiciary and it was a judicial process that made us go back to the election. The judiciary is an independent body. When it favored you the last time, you praise the judiciary. Right now, the judiciary is sio mzuri kwa sababu you didn't get the ruling that you wanted. But when Azimio supporters are arrested and released by the same judiciary, then you are okay with it. So mko na hizo double standards mingi mnaongea. Another thing that my friend Moses mentioned here is about Ruto's cabinet. I think most of you don't even know, even if I tell you about even one or two people who are in Ruto's cabinet, hamwezi jua hata wengi. Some of them are even new, very new to me. Mimi kuna wengine hata sijawahi sikia. Very, very new people. There's a lady called Rebecca Miano. There are people who are going to Senate to answer questions on what are they do, what the government is doing about the anger issue. These things are happening in the Senate. The development partners who are coming to aid the government to mitigate anger. These things are happening in the Senate. But here, if you want to look at things on one side, your side of story, it is all important you know that the government is working. Apart from the proclamations that tunaona kwa barabara, sheria za serikali and the head of the cabinet is the president of the Republic of Kenya. Ukienda huko bungeni na Senate, kuna mambo mingi inafanyika. Kuna committees za Senate, za parliament zinafanya kazi. Na hizi vitu zote, if you take keen interest, you know what the government is implementing. So don't wait for a side show or Ruto akitoka kwa kanisa talking about a government policy. Yeah. And some of the things that he talks about is something that was talked about by the head of KRA. The head of KRA is an appointee by the government. Na akisema ati kuna 1.4 trillion tunataka kudai hii familia. Hiyo ni kitu wamejua na wamediscuss na it is something that they are aware of. So it is not wrong to say that Ruto should pay taxes and Uhuru should pay taxes and everybody else and every Kenyan should pay taxes. Another thing I heard in this show that people are asking, ati nani ameonyesha Ruto ameonyesha taxes zake? Hao watu wanauliza swali ya upumbavu hiyo, wajui ya kuwa kabla run for presidency you must be tax compliant in Kenya. Before you run for any seat, iwe ya MCA mpaka huko presidency, lazima uangalie kama umekuwa ukilipa ushuru na kupatia certificate and they give you a clearance. That happens in Kenya. They don't tell you in this show. So hizi ni vitu zinafanyika bwana. Asante.
Asante bwana Mzalendo. Hiyo inafanyika Kenya. Hata Kenya ndio unapewa madigrii za River Road. All is happening in Kenya. So in Kenya we know you can get any certification anywhere, whatever you want. Hata kuwa assistant wa Jesus, you'll be able to get that. Now I tend to think we have exhausted discussing because I'm seeing like people are now, whatever the topic you guys are addressing is not what is running. Although I came late, but I tend to think all this time you must have really deliberated. So I tend to think maybe we should just say our final word and then tufunge station, and then maswala ya what next for Azimio, hiyo mwezi mkaelewa. You just leave it to Azimio people, let them do whatever they are doing. It should not bother Azimio. I think it's wild goose chase. That's it. Leave it at that. and just watch. Badala ya kupiga kelele, you know, because if you think it's not making sense, it's not making sense to you, and it will never make sense to you. Nothing has ever made sense to KK. So I think I've been thinking about it, and you know, nikaona sometimes we are engaging as these guys of KK. It's a really waste of time. The best is you sit that side, watch the others think they are doing rubbish, then we see the end result. I think that's the best thing. Tunyamaze tu, sasa tuangalie tuone. Hao watu wote tunaona huko Jakaranda ni wapumbavu.